just in time to catch that thing off. Hey people, how you doing this week? What is going on? Yeah, we're here with IVPAC. What's up? How's it been? Has it been a long week? Feels like it's been the longest of long weeks, man. I don't know what's been going on, but it's like I can't explain it. I just can't explain it. We've been working, we've been testing, I've been getting some flying in. Weather's been cooperating. Got the further design along we was working on last week. We'll get into that. First of all, I got to say 210 planes. 210 planes. Yeah, you thought this was small potatoes, but now, if you followed along with us, yeah, 2/3 almost of the way. Like, it's an incredible feat. If any one of y'all out there have done it and like actually completely made loading the truck, wow, got you this far? Really? Only up to this point, huh? Wait a minute, I'm on the show and you're talking about that? What the fuck? But I know. It's been a week. We got the stuff. 210 planes is no laughing matter. But what I was getting at though is, if any of you guys have actually built flying examples each time, man, you've got a lot of birds. Us pride fly people, and then again, there's some of us that just keep on building workable planes. I gotta stop that. I really gotta stop that. But I mean, dude, it's getting a little bit much. So, oh, you just wanted to pop in? Alright. Thanks for popping in, bro. Appreciate it. We, he just had to be again, like I said, appreciate you coming for the show. No, that was cool. I learned some things. We can touch on. I actually finally got a chance to get the maps updated. To the point where they're almost completely current. Because I noticed a couple things missing after some things that we were talking about described. They're all now on there. Mark, that's actually mostly for you. I got them on there. Still a couple things I need from, well, basically, actually, you, NASA's and POW, actually, and KIA. I also noticed, to get with these people one-on-one individually, unless y'all show up on the show, hey, I need you in the maps. OE, I contacted you about, like, I was updating the sheets and noticed discrepancies in our databases. But mostly I think I got them fixed on my own. And any other inputs that you might have made, just because I was noticing that date discrepancies, I believe it was a mismatch on to how we date the stuff. And I was going to actually touch on that for the show. I should have put that in there. Just like, in case y'all were wondering every now and again when you see some of these codes that we use, and when I keep telling, I strive people to tell, like, get those on there, like the one that's on here. At least having a date code. You could have numbers if you want and everything like that. Obviously, I think it's a good idea. I think you should definitely do it, but you don't have to, of course. I just think it's cool, especially if you've got some way to identify each plane individually. I mean, if you only build one of every type, it's pretty easy. And if you only put like one type of tech on one type of plane, hey, that's easier too. But in something like this, I was just thinking like numbers, and if you do number it, if you build anything more than 2 planes a day, maybe you build 20, and this is where I had this problem personally, but if you build 20 in one day, how do you know, if you care, how do you know which one is which? That's where the date code comes in. And of course, I have ran into the problem where if you do build multiples on it one day, you do have the problem, unless you know which one you're sitting at. So I if it matters to you, and it matters to me, and it matters to a few people, real world especially, I mean, seriously, there's nobody out there that doesn't have like an inventory running, and usually a chronological numbering system with their whatever it is they happen to have. Hell, it could be pens, but you need that. So if you have the numbers and you do that, and again, the date code, I just want to clear up any like little bit of confusion. Like I borrowed this system from Richard Fogelman, actually, or Richard Klein, excuse me, from Klein Fogelman, The Ultimate Paper Airplane. If you read the book from way back in the day when he developed the new airfoil, uh, he had actually, truthfully speaking, I think it was from him. It might not have been, but I'm going to go confirm that right now. I'll take you on a little journey, which you're not going to see me do. I'm going to go over here and grab the book, because I have the book. Oh my God, you're going to reach with it. Reach with it. Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, this book right here, The Paper Airplane, yeah, by Mr. Klein. Good reading, good book. The plane that you build on there looks nothing like that one. But he's got a picture, like, this is back in the early days of my aircraft creation. Okay, I'm sorry, this is actually my middle days. I got this book, I think the book is from, like, this early 80s, maybe late 70s. Hell, I don't know. Mid-80s, it's 85. So I got it when it was relatively new. I bought it in, like, 90, I think, maybe 89. And there's a picture in particular in here. If you get it, or if you have it, you'll see that he's actually... At least I think it's this one. If I'm tucking out of my ass, you'll know, because it might not be in here, but yeah. But these people also, even in the books I describe, having like some kind of methodology on here. As a matter of, this one in particular here, you see that he's actually talking about a date. He's got a date code on his plane, and that's, like, it's not really a date, it's just the date, 10/1972, but I saw that, and that's actually where I got it from. Thought it was cool. And the only difference I had was I didn't like using so many numbers. I didn't like having just that many numbers. I wanted to break it up with some letters. Plus the fact that I knew I was going to turn it into, the core. So I wanted letters because I knew I was going to have base codes. And I knew I wanted to use, like, the German style or the buzz number style along with the date codes. So I wanted to use letters. And for a very brief instant in my early history, my months and days were put together with just the first letter. And I don't know if any of you are aware of our calendar, but there's a couple months in the calendar that actually clash if you just use their first letters. So I didn't want any mistakes in that area. So I came up with a 2-letter system. And of course, it's just mine. However, since it is mine, and I usually do all the paperwork, or at least I do most of the paperwork. Hey, pal, what's going on, bro? Robert, how you doing, man? You a little loaded now? You lower? You know what I mean? The lettering system I came up with was the 2-letter system, and it's not the first 2 letters of the month, as to be imagined, because, again, you run into the problem with the M's and the J's, because January is the only month that has a JA, but June, July, and March and May, if you still use the first 2 letters, you run into that problem, as well as with the first letter. So I came up with the one. I was wondering, because you sent me the message and you didn't, so I was like, wait a minute. The show's coming on. Anyway, so all I did was, obviously, first 2 letters, but then sequentially the next letter. In case you're wondering. I mean, obviously, if you guys use numbers, you don't have a problem. And again, if I recommend date coding it, but I mean, if you date code however you want, we at IVPAC, we don't care. I mean, we highly recommend you code them, but how you do it, that's totally up to you, just so long as you know what day your plane was made. Mine just involves using the first 2 letters, and if you see our paperwork, I use my system because, again, I did the paperwork. So, and I'm used to it. But, again, it's first 2 sequential and chronological. So, basically what that means is, like, the first one, like January, this was built January 22nd this year. That all is explained right there, January 22nd, 21. JA. Were this June, it would be the next letter in sequence. So not JU, it would be JN. And since there's 3 in the J's, July is JY. And it runs out. That's why, so, use the next letter, then the next letter, sequentially. I do the same thing for March. Is MA, May is MY. That way you have no there's no, they don't run into each other. April's AP, August is AG, and those are the only months you have to deal with. But I mean, you could argue for the there's some have common letters, so you just pick one that doesn't have common letters. But I just didn't want there to be no confusion, nor I didn't want it to look too stupid. I mean, yeah, JY is probably pretty universal, but you could use JL. But you've really seen July as JL? Have you ever really seen June as JE? Because January has an N too, So it gets deep, but when you ever thought about using two letters like I did, you had to run some ideas in your head. This is what I came up with, and this is where we're at. So, August and April don't have that problem, but whatever. The point is, that's where I ended up. Because again, after literally just about a couple months of using even the most infamous planes, SP, the phase 2, it was a phase 1M at the time, G067, for a brief period of time actually wore J0689 because I didn't yet put JN on the Junes, and it was JN. So, again, fixed it, but if you want to use that, you're welcome to use that, but any date code you use is appropriate as long as you can tell what day your plane was built. And in the Corps, it is crucial. I almost say mandatory, but it is very crucial if you hope to recognize planes. If you hope we're together. I mean, obviously you can tell them apart because you see them and you know your plane is built. But if you got 5 of the same one, what if number 5 flies good, number 1 flies like a piece of crap? You know what I mean? So the numbers help. And again, we give out awards, especially for best flight. Best flight goes to one plane, one single plane. Not a whole type, because, it's the one plane. I mean, you wouldn't... Okay, again, I don't know how you guys operate, but maybe one of you guys has just one type of plane, that's all you build, Oh, here's a Ram. There's only one Ram. And then you move on to, the Falcon, and there's only one Falcon, blah, blah, blah. So, obviously, you could do that. So, you don't need a number. But, if you have 100 of them, and again... number 50 flies better than number 1, number 50 is going to get the award. Or if you have 100 of them, are you going to take 100 of them and fly them on one day? Or are you just going to fly 1 or 2? And then the next day and the next day and so on. See what I mean? It's it keeps track. This is why we say get a flight log, write it down, type it up, put it on the Google Calendar, especially for the Corps. We have that. I put all my flight log days in there. And April was looking pretty loaded for once. What do you mean? One too many? You can never have one too many. I just don't think that you can have... Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, you don't have one too many. But if you want to be recognized, put in a calendar, you say 17 flew really good this day, 17 flew really good this day, but 16 flew really good, blah, blah. You just run down the list, and it's this is what I was talking about. If you want the plane to win the award, you put it in the calendar so I can preview the calendar. It's 16 flew good this day, and this day, and I only had 472 flew good this one day. Well, 16 must be the better plane. See what I mean? That's how we debate on who gets especially the awards for the best flight and shit. It's just friendly little distant competition. I mean, sometimes if you get together and fly them, you can eyeball them and say dude, that plane is awesome, and just decide on the spot, that plane takes the day. So, Mark can well attest to that, because again, I'll tell you about the Venom NG that flew over there, and KIA. They both, everybody that was there knew that Venom NG that flew was probably the most amazing bird. I got lucky. It just kept flying and would not stop. It would not stop. But you have one of those flights, and seriously, if you have that one flight will, it doesn't matter if you have one that has 20 good flights. Maybe that one flight that one will stick in your memory. That one takes the taco. So, it was Pharaoh and his stealth one from way back in the day that flew and vanished. The greatest flight in its history was its last flight, because we never ever found it again. But he flew it from across the street. It took off. It cleared, like, I lived across the street from pretty substantial distance. And if you look at the maps, you can see it because it was at the 476 and the 477th wings down in Sumter, South Carolina. And he flew it basically from his side yard, threw it towards my house, banked to my neighbor's house, and cleared his freaking roof. Cleared his roof. And vanished. I mean, I can't tell you how long we looked for that plane. He's got like so... Man, dude, we scoured we beat bushes. We climbed on fences. We climbed a tree. It was obviously not on the roof. I mean, it barely cleared the roof, but it was a straight gliding flight, and it cleared the roof basically by like maybe a plane width. I remember that vividly. It's probably more like about a foot, but a plane width and length. But dude, oh my god, I think we wasted an hour, maybe even two, looking for it. We're like, I don't understand where it could have went, but it is gone. It is gone. And yeah, I mean, but there's in any case, yeah, there's always that one flight, and it doesn't matter if you take out this one plane all week and it just performs magnificently. It's that one flight will trump it. Yeah, you guys know there's always one. They don't happen that often. They're kind of infrequent, especially if you don't get the fly. So I mean, in our competition, our friendly little competition that gives the awards out here in IVPAC, basically I will go to numbers, which is why I like seeing the flight logs if you post it in the calendar. Again, I like to stress, for your own sake, you're going to want to post it in the calendar, so you just know. I mean, you could do videos, but I mean, if you can't do a spot video, just put on a flight log. Hey, I flew that day, and I mean, basically, it's just a method. I just like the calendar because it's something I've used literally before the days of the internet when I was keeping a flight log. I kept a flight log on a little pad, and NASA's there will definitely know. We've got our pads. We've had them. I showed it to you before if you saw it. It's a little green pad that's progressed from that's my flight log number 5 that I've had. Take it with me most of the time, and like if something happens, I'm writing it. And of course, you're flying paper planes, so you can write on the planes in case you know, like, hey, this one likes this flap tweaked a little bit. So you write on there, like, tweak this flap towards 45 degrees. I've got a few planes like that too. You always got to keep something like that handy. And I mean, in this day and age, it's digital. If you got a smartphone, you can post it up right away. But that's why I say, like, use the calendar as your flight log, and just like on a day, if you see our calendar, I post it there, and a few others post it there. Just let them know, like, when a rollout happens, when you stand up, when you retire, when you close, whatever. Even just to take regular notes, it's good to have it. So, again, not mandatory. We just highly recommend it. Especially if you're a little competitive in nature and you want to win an award. We have the DPS trophy given out to the plane with the best flight, and we award it twice a year. As a matter of fact, I think I awarded it recently because it comes out every March 31st and September 30th. And if we get more members, we'll have to make that more recent. I'd like to make it a monthly thing, really. I always saw it that way. It's like, who's got the best flight of the quarter? Who's got the best flight of the month? Because if you have, like, 50 people flying, I'd like to think at least there'd be 10 flights a month somewhere by somebody, and then we get to go head-to-head and say, like, well, which plane flew better, you know? But I recognize, by contractor, we all recognize. And I will, it's not just me voting on it. I like taking everybody's opinion. That's why, I mean, if you can video it too, it's a good thing. Video it, you just, or just, I mean, you don't have, we have a gentleman's agreement. We don't think anybody's like lying asses off. So it's like, but sometimes you will, like, this plane's amazing. We'll post a video, we'll post pictures so we'll know. But, so I flew this plane 20 times. This thing was just freaking awesome. It flew night, and you're like, okay, we'll do it. So, and, I mean, it's kind of like the MVP awards in the NFL. No? He talked to you? Yeah? That's okay. Kind of miss him already. I'm serious. It's like, wow. He must be in school since he gets up in the morning. Abby, shout out to you. Missed you this week. It'll be a little bit quieter in the chat. But, yeah, anyway, like, I don't. It's kind of a gentleman's agreement, you know, how many flights you do, and we all get together and just like it's not just me voting. I mean, I'll tell you, like, if I flew 10 times, this plane flew pretty good. What have you got? You know, if you don't have anything to trump it, I'll win. If you got something that may be good, we'll talk about it. We'll see what you got, and maybe it'll turn into a fly-off, so we know. But I always give the benefit of the doubt. But I'd love to get it to the point where we have enough members that we have to award it once a month because we've got so many flights in instead of like biannually. It's gotten to the point. I mean, it used to be an annual award. Now it's biannual. So we've progressed, just really slow. We need to expand, man. We need to expand. Any of you guys get a chance to? Well, I mean, again, awards, the dates. I got you. So, calendars, guys, calendars. And Robert, dude, you gotta let me know about that one. I gotta get that one base from you since I got you. Yeah, just like pinpoint on the map where you want me to put that thing, and I'll place it. And then, not only that, like, okay, I need the pinpoint, but then I need like boundaries. It doesn't have to be exact if you kind of want to hide it. I understand. Seriously, in the digital day and age, I don't give a crap. I post mine all the time. It doesn't matter to me because everybody's public. If you bought a house, if you've rented or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Your life is public record. You can't really hide it. So, I mean, unless you off grid, in which case you wouldn't be watching my show. So, but I mean, I understand. It's just like, I mean, even OAE posted his, and I appreciate that. But I said, just get with me and let's get your whichever base we don't have up there, Lanier or Melbourne, whatever one we don't have up there. Let's place that up there because that would finish you up, and I would only need, I think, one from NASA's and one from KIA, and we'd be good. So, I'd like to think that's the case. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, if you want, I was gonna say, like, if you want, you could just like, message me the coordinates of where you want the dot placed, but it'd be a little bit harder for us to figure out where to put the boundaries. So again, like, if I got what you'd like, I could get you the you should be able to edit the maps. If you remember getting all the stuff, like any of the documents, if you wanted to, like, you could definitely read them, but you could change them if you need. I give all access to any member. So, especially, but I mean, maps, truthfully, too, is like, because sometimes you're the only bloody one that knows your boundaries. Unless you can let you know, like, really wing it. Because I don't know if any of y'all have ever used Google Maps, but the boundaries that you can make for an area, you really can, like, draw, like, pretty much wing your lines. So, but if you just say, I need it from this corner of the street, to this corner of the street, to this field, I make you a square, I can make you a line, whatever. If you look at our base maps, some of our bases are quite, I don't know, they're odd shaped. They don't really follow anything in particular. So, there's that too. You know, I mean, like, you may not want a complete square. Maybe you borrow somebody else's yard. Maybe you've got a field you want to include. It's just all these things to consider when you do that. That we do that. I keep doing this wrong. I'm such a dolt when it comes to that. It's better to actually just access it through the drive. But anyway, like, whatever shape you want it to have, let me know, or like, we'll just get with, like, give you controls so you know how it looks. I was going to how in the hell, where in the hell, how in the hell, and what in the hell I was going to share this with you guys. And I'm looking at it, and it's like, where the hell, how the hell does I do this? I'm trying to figure out where the there's a spot. You'd think I'd be good at this, but I suck at this. No, I'm kidding. Here we go. Try it out, see if it works. I believe it works. I don't actually know. I'm going to link to it, see if it pops up there. I'll test the link here, see if that works. My God, it worked. So anyway, yeah, that did work. I'm not stupid. Anyway, yeah, there's the maps. Visible by all. You click on it, you can tell. And we have some, like you click on the boxes on the left. It's going to open into reserves because right now that's the default. But all the bases are in there, and they're pretty well positioned. We just need to add a couple others, and we'll be all set. Oh yeah, so Lanier is the one that we need from you, Robert. We'll get what you are now. And Melbourne's in place. But if you go in, you zoom in, you see like we have our own patches. And as long as they're, like anything you want to add to those bases, we can add or subtract or whatever. So, well, I mean, again, yeah, it's okay. I mean, like we'll work it. Just we get the other one in place. Like I said, stuff like the database that we like to keep up to date, especially because I like to look at it. I'm trying to upgrade it even more as we go along with like pictures and such. So, but that's again, these are not requirements. There's a fine line when you do stuff like this and actually do like paperwork, like what we're doing here or whatever. And there's a fine line that you cross between, hey, this is fun versus it's getting too much like work. I need to get out there and fly, So this is stuff I do after hours or in the winter months or when it's bloody raining and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's hard work upkeeping an Air Force. You know what I mean? He might be in, just not here at the moment. So I was hoping he was like got involved in my build because I told him about what I was starting out with the date codes. I was seeing a little, like I said, he was responsible for a couple of discrepancies, and then I realized like, oh, he probably just got mixed up with the date codes. So, I can check on that. He may be in there. I don't know. I'm hoping he fixed that. But thank you for reminding me because I check the mail and see if he actually did say like if he didn't get a chance to, I probably fixed it because I knew what it was. So again, just a simple case of flipping, just flipping the date codes, because he had there was a couple of them in there that are like the rollout dates, and then the first flights were flipped, and there's even a couple that it was more than two. I saw it was two, and it was the two newest ones, so it was ironic. It was easy to find, but I found a couple others, and it was dreadfully ironic because like he had retired them, and the retirement dates were before the rollout dates. I'm like, that cannot happen. That's impossible. But he had a couple others on there that were actually the first flight dates were before the rollout. That can't happen. I mean, if anybody like, if there was ever any doubt how we do the system or how you should do the system, I mean, this is reality, people. You cannot fly the plane before you fold it. Okay, so we call it the rollout. That's when you like completed the fold. You first built the plane. That's like if I were to put wings on this, it rolled out. This wouldn't be new, but it would be that's its rollout. And we call it a rollout when it's a new design. So if it's accepted, you accepted it, you rolled out the design. That's the rollout date. A lot of times in the paper aircraft world, you probably get a chance to, ooh, this looks cool, I'm going to go take it outside and fly it. Your first flight date's usually the same date as your rollout date. If it's raining, if you finish it late at night, it might not be. And you may forget about it and build 3 others. So very rarely, but every now and again, it can take some time between the rollout and the first flight. But nominally in paper, it's usually the same day. Because normally you're in the middle of the day, or normally you like flew something, you had an idea, you went inside, you built it, and then you want to fly it. So it's not like the real world where your rollout was like, January 12th, and your first flight wasn't until spring because you wanted better weather, so, or something. Anything. But the budget didn't allow you to fly it. The government. So, just something to consider, but in any case, on our sheets, if you look at our sheets, the rollout date is the date the design was first built or completed. We don't time it, so don't know the afternoon, the nighttime, it doesn't really matter. But it was built, and then the first flight was literally the day you first flew it. And again, you'll probably see a lot of times where it's the same day, but not necessarily. And then the retirement, or like whether it's active, there's another column there. And that's just like, well, how old is it? Is you still using it, or did you don't use it anymore? So. And it's funny talking about that because I've always I consider, and every time I look into some of the aircraft, real world aircraft books, I always wonder what could be, or what could have been. And we touched on this on a couple shows ago, and I keep touching on it. I don't mean to rehash a topic, but I always wonder, like, if we were to build, for example, a biplane using today's knowledge, or if we were to like bring back the F4 or the SR-71 or anything, an F-106, an F-86, but building it with today's technology, because we don't do that. We retire the plane because it gets old, but seriously, what's stopping us from taking a base model, for example, because we want to use jets? What's stopping us from taking an F-86 per se, and just like every plane is an F-86, just a variant? You know what I mean? Like you could stealthy it. Seriously, who's not to say you couldn't give it the wings of an F-22 with an all-glass cockpit and fly-by-wire technology? I mean, really, because you might scoff at it, you might laugh at it, but I mean, what if that was the case? What's the big deal? You don't think a designer couldn't take and modify the design? You don't think that's never happened before? I mean, if that was the only design, for whatever stupid reason, the only design you ever had to work with was one single plane, and you could modify it, you still got infinite ways to modify that one plane. Look at the MiG-21. The MiG-21 is a prime example of this. I mean, if any of you guys see it, even the Russians, in Soviet Air Force service, Russian Air Force service, it's seen some modifications. But look at what China has done with it, and even to a lesser extent Pakistan. I don't know if you've seen, but like the JF-17, that's a MiG-21. I mean, that thing is it's gone a long way. It's got, it's hardly recognizable, but you can tell where its lineage is. And again, that's first flying in 1956. It's still in the air as it has, a generational gap. Pretty cool. But just thinking on that, like, I mean, a biplane. We put some common. Can you imagine a biplane, combat-ready glass cockpit with some stealth characteristics? I mean, who's to say? Why does it always got to be a clean sheet design? If it was off the shelf, it probably costs a lot less. But I digress. I mean, I don't think it's much different than the people that you see and like resto mod, or like take some CGI, some CAD drawings, and like take let's say a 56 Corvette and like give it, current technology. Or the places that really do this with cars. Like the Mustang producers that like will put every new piece of stuff in them. Automatic door locks, air conditioning, power brakes, power steering. Everything a new car enjoys, but give it the old look. You know what I mean? They don't do it with planes because basically reasons. Why not, If you could build a plane from the 50s in the now, with just some more technology, it would be, like, first of all, it would definitely increase the range. Planes are already going to start light. I mean, you'd probably beef it up a little bit, but it'd also be stronger because we've built better materials. Bulkhead knowledge, longeron knowledge, spans, all that has gotten better. And it's fly-by-wire, so it'd already be lighter because we wouldn't be looking at all the basic actuators and the steam power, that we used to make, right? The gauges and stuff. It wouldn't be all that. So you'd have to imagine, like, well, again, same plane. You fit the engine that you could fit in there, or make it smaller so you could surround it with whatever, avionics, fuel, armament. It's just a thought. But where I was getting at it is like, it's ironic that we talk about that, and the possibilities that there could be, like, why can't we upgrade a F4 for the now? Why can't we build another SR-71, which was already futuristic 50 years ago? Why can't we bring it in now? You replace that cockpit, we could probably put engines in it that don't have to be turbo ramjets. You could probably, I don't know about the skins because it gets pretty hot for its flight. I mean, there's no use for it. Maybe it's experimenting. I bet you could find something for it. But, I mean, be up to date, But, again, sorry. Where I'm getting at it is, like, in the paper airplane world, though, we can't do that so much. You can tweak a base design. Like, if any of you all have seen my original Banshee, of which I barely have any more, and they're all in the palace now. This being the Type 3 I don't fly type 1s and 2s anymore. And maybe a type 4. I can't do a type... This one, I can't fall back to the 1. I mean, you could, but what's the point? A lot of times you build what you build and you find it, and it's stuff like I can't do something to the phase 1 to bring it back. Besides that, the 6 pretty much took it out, you know? The 6 was a natural progression, I'd like to think, because it's basically the same design. But when you think about it, when you think about the planes that you modify, if you've folded them here, if you've made them and stuff, and you've taken them through time, you've noticed that that's probably the case. Like, I can't go back. You physically can't. It isn't a matter of, like, I mean, even, okay, yes, you could build your first plane out of stronger material that you didn't have on hand, because chances are you made it out of a notebook paper. Hey, Abby is here. Hi, Abby, how you doing, man? Thought you couldn't make it in. You could build it out of advanced materials. That's basically all you could do. What else could you do? You know? So, we don't have the luxury of, like, putting avionics in, or arming it up, or all the little nifty things that you do when you have a real world plane. So, but anywho, Abby's in. Robert must have disappeared for a moment there. Oh, he's still out of here. NASA's going to sleep. Okay, might be peeping in, but he's usually quiet. Missile might be peeping in, but he's usually quiet. So anyway, if you guys had a chance to build it and fly it, I did. I built more. It still sucked. It sucked less, but it still sucked. These two are the newer ones that I built after the show. This is actually the same one, but if you'll see, I put a nose on it. And like I've been, because you can see where it is. There's the cut right there. It's got a nose now. Sucks. I just wanted to do this because I wanted to prove to myself and to everybody why the Phase 1 is probably one of the more deluxe planes to build. And I think we made the Phase 2 on the show because the Phase 2 is the basic plane to build. And the 3 ain't nothing special. If you remember and go back and watch, truthfully speaking, if you go back through our library of shows, go to the how to build on the 2, you can build the 3. There's not much difference. There's really, really not much difference. And, yeah, it's almost stupid of me to have thought about it, but I sometimes you kick back on yourself, but again, this is why we like having the tech sheets, because you have to have it out there for everybody to use, because you kick yourself for stupid stuff that you don't notice, and then you just notice. So, let me elaborate a little bit on Indy 19.3 and 21.2 here. Okay, so, in case you guys built it on last week's show, I wanted to do this to prove to myself and everybody that the cut nose was causing the problem, so I put a nose back on. It is firmly a piece. It is followed the regular slope that it would have been had it been on board. It still sucks. It sucks only slightly less, but that's actually because there's more alterations back here than there is up there. But it is not the nose. So basically it was a test to prove whether or not... I haven't got a chance to do my other test, which is literally to take a phase and cut this nose into it. Because I know a phase works. And I'll literally do it to a working phase. It'll be a new build. It's going to be in one of my Pry Fly bodies. Because I'm not new building a phase. I've got so many of them, I'm not even bothering to do it. But again, Abby, you can look back at the past and see. It's in there. It's somewhere. I can probably even tell you which show it's on. I can probably even reference the show, so you know where to look. I'm going to build a phase, make sure it flies the way a phase can fly. Then I'm going to cut this nose into it and see what it does. And by proving at least that the nose... This is 50% of where I wanted to be to prove that the nose wasn't the fault. So far, I know it isn't, because there's a nose on here, and this one still performed as it did without it. So it's obviously here back. Not even the length. I mean, this is, to be fair, this isn't the original nose. This is a light, thin, barely folded piece to put on here, because I didn't want it to be... All I wanted to do was guide the wind. I didn't want it to add the weight because I want the weight to be here. And as Robert pointed out last week, it's not I don't believe it to be a center of gravity issue. Granted, I could add some weight up there and see if I could forward that weight, but a simple corkscrewing motion should not be because of a bad center of gravity. CG is probably not the issue. It's back here. So this one also does not have this. I mean, I pointed out to you that time, but does not have the spider pinch. These hedrals are straight in line with the wing, and the slant is way less than it normally would be. This is the one I built on the show with you guys. So, you know how that was. This one is more of that case, except this one, again, stranded. What the hell? This is pinched only a little bit. Has a spider pinch on those. And this one actually has the opposite slope. So it's smaller up here and wider back here. So it's a little bit less spider-like. Ironically, the plane still did that. I've got one other option. And I plan on using it because while Nova does not have the corkscrew problem, Javelin does. And God, I mean, you want my whole core up there. The fleet, you're going to have the fleet up there before long. And yes, I'm going to post the fleet eventually, but wait a minute. Still, though, I got to wonder, why do you want the Goblin and then the Phase 3? You want my shortest range plane and my longest range plane? Are you trying to start a war over there? You got a little paper airplane battle going on with somebody? So you want to have... you want to have the ideas? I kind of respect that thing. I know. And we do. So this one flew just a little bit. It's alright. It's better. It's got a poof problem. As you can see, the wings have a tendency to rise up really bad in the back. And that deploys in flight. I probably should fix that before it actually flies again because I think that might be part of the problem. But it's pretty good. I don't think it's a rudder issue, but there'll be more testing before I actually put this thing out to pasture. Did you guys find out anything about this? Like, you guys built this last week. Did you guys fly this thing? Did you have any issues? Did you find anything out about this? Because so far I didn't. Thing still sucks. I can still get corkscrews. I don't want corkscrews. I got corkscrews. Help me out. I had a tendency to believe it was, in fact, the hedrals or the rudders. I didn't put floating rudders on these yet. I would really like these planes. My point is, I'd really like these planes to work without the floating rudder. If I have to, it's fine. But I'd like to think that they would perform without it, so I'll keep trying to make that work. But, who knows? Point being, though, did you guys do it? Did you guys test them? I'm hoping you guys at least flew them, built them from last week and flew them. Any findings? Like, yours flew well? How did you get it to fly well? Did you do something different than, what did you do? I'll tell you one thing. One thing I did discover. A, it flies pretty good inside. And B, I hate saying this, but it seems to like a lighter throw. I can't prove that because it doesn't seem to care if I'm inside or outside that it flies. Only inside it flies better. Outside it flies like that. And I can't explain that. I mean, okay, inside the warehouse where I fly, there's fans on. We have some of those go fan yourself fans. They're huge. They're like the size of helicopter rotors. But we have them on the lowest speed setting. Obviously, there's still air, but the plane flights that and flies good. Every plane is always flowing good indoors. Those fans are never off. However, it's a controlled environment. I don't like flying in controlled environments. But it flies better in there. And this is why I don't. Because A, I'm going to run into something. B, they always fly different. Because you take them outside and they do this. And again, what's so different about inside air versus outside air that causes them to corkscrew all the time outdoors? Bothersome. Oh, I had a feeling. That's why I said, are you down? Apparently not yet, huh? Alright. Can you see alright? Glaucoma. You put flaps on it? That might have been what helped. You built it but haven't flown it yet? Okay. I was thinking the flaps help, but again, I put flaps on... Do I not have it here? My God, out of all the ones I've built... Okay, I don't have it here. It must be upstairs, or... well, it's somewhere. But remember, I showed you guys this, I think last week. I do have one with the flaps. I count this many of these damn planes because I'm so desperately trying to get it to work, and it's still the biggest piece of crap I've got. You want to do Valkyrie? I couldn't get him to do that crap. While I was thinking about that, I was like, dude, the other plane that I've been trying to get to fly for so long, the Valkyrie, I have been trying to get this bird to fly for so damn long and can't get it. Anyway, I have tried flaps. Still didn't seem to matter. Like, whatever causes the damn thing to corkscrew, like, puts the flaps on. Like, the flaps, it's not, it doesn't go. It doesn't work. I've, like, gone with, like, literally almost close to 35 degrees incidence on the one that actually goes down, and it still corkscrews, which leads me to believe it's a rotor situation. But also could be, it literally could be a simple case of a curvature to the anhedrals. You know, I don't know. I was hoping that's why you guys had got a chance to flown it and figure it out, or something out that I hadn't thought of. I'm also thinking about compounding the anhedrals. I'm thinking about giving them a compound when I'm giving it the spider pinch, and then cutting them and giving it a bi cut and seeing if that works. About to put the thing out to pasture, but I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. I'd like to say we get the Valkyrie involved. This is an experimental Valkyrie. This is one of the very few planes I've ever designed and named before I actually accepted it, because I cannot get it to fly. It looks super sweet, but it doesn't fly for crap. This one is not a typical Valkyrie. I've built like 13 of these. This piece right here, you can't really tell, but this piece right here is added on all the way up to the nose here in an effort to get this damn thing to fly, which because I thought this was the problem, because basically it's supposed to be off the plane and you're supposed to have that. But I tried to give it a fuselage back to see if I can get this plane back, and it still sucks. So I don't know, but we should probably, I need to get y'all involved in this one too to see if this one works. Next week's show probably, or maybe like this. Where are you getting the, wait, okay, what is the Nova hybrid? Did I mention the hybrid at some point? I mean, I know I was talking hybrids, but not like that. It was, it was more like putting a different sheet in there with something else. And looking back on them, I don't think I've ever hybridized a Nova. Have I ever hybridized a Nova? I don't freaking know. I suppose I could do that on the show. Yeah. But, I really want to get, I don't know, if I get your help involved, I need more of y'all to build that damn, I said, build and fly and tell me the results of what's going on with 19.2. 19.3, excuse me. And 21.2. Make this thing work. Make this thing work for me, because this plane is my recent obsession. It became a newer obsession. It wasn't, and now it is, because I guess what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take it apart and start from scratch. It could be just as simple of actually as building the first one again, because the one that I showed you how to build last week was not this one. What I've showed you how to build is the one that I'd like it to be. I want it to be this plane. I want it to be the one that I showed you. So, but I guess we're going to have to try to make the other one work. I also need to OAE style it. Yeah, you said, yeah, so it flew, but the spinning, like, was it bad? Did it, like, it's like the corkscrewing. When we say corkscrewing, we don't, like, a barrel roll is when the plane just goes on its axis, like this. That's a barrel roll. The corkscrew method is when it kind of like, there's the invisible line, and it flies around it. That's what this plane does. It picks a line, and it typically does it, and dude, here's the other thing that makes it really funny. It always does it to the right. Always. Every single plane has a corkscrew to the right. If I could just get one to corkscrew to the left, I'd be happy. But I can't. Every one of them corkscrews to the right. And I'd also kind of like to know if that's the problem you guys are having with it. Because, I mean, therein itself might lie the problem. Maybe that's why it's a problem. Is whatever I don't know. I'm right-handed. But I don't care. I mean, I don't fly in any particular way, so it's funny that it does that. It's like whatever it is I'm doing during the construction process, it makes it freaking corkscrew to the right. But never to the left. Never to the left. It is. But see, that's also, but that's also why I did this. And the thing about that, though, is they fly fast. Every one of these damn things, doesn't matter how much of the nose is cut off, doesn't matter what material they are made out of, all of these fly fast. They always have. So it's not the lack of nose. And like I said, and I built this one, so the nose is on it. It's not the lack of nose. Point of fact, if we were to actually build it and not cut that nose off, I think it would just be a straight interceptor. It wouldn't be, it's not really a heavy-nosed interceptor, but it would be a straight interceptor because, like, I think that it's just too much nose. There's not enough wing to offset. It might be. I don't know. But I haven't done it because I'm so obsessed with cutting the damn nose off. And it isn't a simple matter of, you could not do this and take any one of your planes, fold them, and then say, like, let me try that, and then cut the nose off of it and see what it does. You could do that, but why? Why? It's like a lot of the times you're dealing with a plane, Banshee not excluded, because Banshee doesn't have, Banshee's different. Banshee's weight isn't in the nose. The nose is kind of there for looks. The weight starts here, not here. Even with two staples in it, the weight's still here. So, a little different. But, these, like, okay, but the weight is all... See, most of them carry a pretty good, decent amount of weight to about here. Yeah, there's a substantial amount there, but if you've built it, you know it, you feel it, you don't start losing... Okay, you got this much. You don't start losing the chunk till here. Then you got more till about here, until it's finally single-papered. I mean, it follows that design all the way back, so it's substantial. And they all fly fast. So it's not the nose. If I thought it was the nose, I would leave it alone and try to go some other route. Plus, again, like I said, it's so bothersome because it's the same way each time. If it would corkscrew either way, I'd be like, okay, here we have our problem. But I refuse to believe I'm screwing up I refuse to believe I'm screwing up the rudder the same way every time. And now, like I said, with this one, now I know it's not the nose. So, I mean, you're welcome to try to build that plane again, and don't cut the nose off and see what happens. I expect you to give me a lot of reports about, damn, that thing flew long and straight, but it didn't corkscrewed like really small, or corkscrewed a barrel rolled because it just wants to flip over. I really don't want it to do that. I don't, yeah, well, did Nelson ever actually create the video of the cut-off nose spider? I mean, again, this isn't a true spider. He doesn't use, like the piece of paper I showed you, which was a standard, 8.5 by 11. He doesn't use that. He uses like a Lego sheet. It's longer than this. It's like an 8.5 by 13 or 8.5 by 15 or something. It's different. It's not this. So, That's why I know I don't have a spider, but I'm using spider tech on it. And even he is saying that too, because again, you're helping us out, you're helping him out, because spider has been having that problem. I figured it would be a good plane to cut the nose off, because spider does carry a lot of weight in its nose. So I had that idea, and then I just developed this one from it. But it's nothing... You can call it that. And like I said, I've discovered actually that, of course... I still have not decided officially. Also, let me point this out. I still haven't decided officially whether or not this really is ND19-2. Even though... If I did that, it means I kind of accepted it to a point. It's being evaluated. When I give it that designator, it's like I'm working with it. I don't do that with others. Like, I mean, Valkyrie and Arstea and Burst, they're different because, well, Burst and Arstea are just the technology acronyms. Valkyrie I just named because I really wanted it to work. That's this thing. It doesn't work. I've worked on this plane for 13 years. Can't get it to work. We're going to have to get you involved. His spider worked. His wasn't, I mean, his was an accepted design, and it flew really good. I don't know if every one of them flew really good, and I don't know if, I think that was part of the problem. I don't think every one of them flew really good. Yeah, I don't know. What, that one? I can show you. Like I said, I can get you involved in the the Valkyrie. Because again, I need help with this plane. This plane should be something more than it is, and it's not. And it's frustrating. You guys want to build a Valkyrie? This would be like me asking for help part 2. Like, okay, I can't get ND19-3 to work, and I have, since 2008, I have not been able to get Valkyrie to work. I was so sure of myself. I got big-headed. I was so sure of myself in 2008 when I built this thing that I was like, okay, let's give it a name. This thing's going to work. And then looking at it, I was like, oh, buddy, this plane's got to work. And then we're going through this year, and it's never bloody worked. It's frustrating. And I'm going through it again with ND19. Or, yeah. Well, no. See, that's why I don't want to call it that, because ND19-3 isn't a failure. That plane flies. It's freaking... It's this plane that sucks. So... Valkyrie, though. Yeah, you want to get involved in Valkyrie? We can get involved in Valkyrie. Valkyrie would be nice. If I remember how to build this piece of crap. Well, bear with me a second here. I'm actually doing something in the background you can't see. Because I'm trying to see if I remember how to build this bitch. It's been a long time for Valkyrie because it pisses me off. This is what happened with Nova back in the day, except Nova actually flew. Nova flew good. And Nova has expanded upon itself in the recent years because Nova originally was like a medium range plane. Could have been like what we call the patrol fighter. It just goes like, you know, the duration of your yard or so on and so forth. But Nova's newer variants have gotten it way beyond its range. It's gone beyond its means now. So, bear with me. I gotta see if I can do this. It's actually been a while since I've had a new build Valkyrie because I've got bodies of this one too. But it'd be nice to get you guys involved to see. Valkyrie's looks cool. It just flies like crap. And I'm pretty sure I know why it flies like crap. But, again, if I can get other people with designs on it, maybe you guys can help me figure out a way to make it work. Because Valkyrie would be nice to have in the core. probably one of the only working models of like joyous flight that I have. You know what I mean? Like you guys have that one plane that you have that's like so cool, and that you can't get it to like do. And then you have the other plane that's like virtually identical to it, but that plane sucks. Yeah, this Valkyrie's like that. I mean, and Valkyrie was a simple build too, which is why it's so fucking frustrating. You should not be this much a problem. I don't get it. Just don't get it. I had to build another one on my own. Alright. So yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, because, like, well, you keep saying hybrid, and it's like, I've never really considered it a hybrid, and nor have I actually got the hybrid built yet. I mean, I don't think I've ever actually, God bless, I really got these planes coming out of my head, like, everywhere. I've not gotten one to fly like that yet. I haven't built a true hybrid yet. How do you get destroyed in a damn... How do you get destroyed in a cabinet, in a drawer? It's in a drawer. How do you get destroyed in a drawer? That shouldn't even happen. This isn't even... What the hell is this? Oh, this is the one that worked. This is the one that worked. I took these out of the way because I didn't need a cat to destroy them. They're trying to keep them out of the cat. Like, none of these are... You're talking about those. Those are Nova. None of those are hybrids. We haven't built a hybrid Nova yet. You got that idea from NASA's, I think. Should I? I don't know. Valkyrie. Damn. Trying to get the paper together here. This is the ones I freaked him out with because this one's got like 3 staples in it. Nova doesn't typically have staples in it, like so, like that there. Yeah, I do that a lot. But once I built Hagataka with him, Hagataka gave me ideas, so I was starting to play with Nova's weight balancing. This Nova here, this is another Nova. This one's got staples here. Man, OIE would be like freaking out because like Nova has always worked with like, I don't know, used to be higher, but I've steadily gotten like a lower and lower amount of fuselage. So like now there's barely room for the fingertips on it. Like, and I'm grabbing it here. Like, see that? I can barely get my fingertips on the fuselage. Used to be like this high, where like you can fit your fingertips comfortably on there. Not anymore. Nova's gotten shorter. This is gonna work, I promise. See here. You're gonna make me do this, aren't you? Get a sheet. Y'all got a sheet? I need a sheet. Build it out of whatever kind of sheet you want, because, hey, let's face it, it's probably not going to fly. Regular sheet, okay? Okay, hold the hell on a minute. I got to tell you what size. You got a regular sheet, but you're going to have to cut, get some scissors. Okay, so whatever size sheet, doesn't matter the size sheet. If you want to use the one I'm using this stupid standard 8.5 by 11. Like literally 8.5 by 11. Okay, so you want to build this piece of crap? Let's build this piece of crap. Okay, so you're gonna need to you're going to need to get yourself... Oh, yeah, I got a wheel. Sometimes I forget I have this wheel. Alright, so what we're going to do is... Well, what you're going to do is you're going to cut it and turn it into a squaw. Alright? So make sure your lines are just right. And doesn't matter what sheet. If you got a 10 by whatever, you're cutting it in a square, so make it a 10 by 10. But you got it there. So I got this. I got this. I got this with a pie cutter. Okay, so you trim that off and you got a square sheet. This is for NASA's. NASA's always been talking about how he wanted to use different sheets, finally, different size sheets. And this is one of the 5 airplanes that I use currently that are built out of squares. Diamant and Banshee and Valkyrie and Wasp. All built out of square sheets. Okay, so you fold it in half. Obviously it doesn't matter, it's a perfect square. Okay. Novas are always long range. The Nova shouldn't be long range, but okay. So let's see, and you unfold it and take the other sides and then fold them in towards the inside. All right. It's crucial. It's crucial. This is the way you want to do this. All right. So you end up with a sheet like this. Okay. Obviously, your first fold, folded it in half. Your second fold, fold them inside there, and they're in half. I mean, if you want to, I mean, you're basically just making fold into fold. So, but like, there you go. You still got that. So, okay. So you end up with a sheet of paper like that, accordion. Should look like that. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, let me prove to myself that I'm not screwing this up. Sometimes, man, you know, sometimes you like take it and you're like, man, is this plane ever going to be right? Plane ain't never going to be right. Okay, so, alright. Now, really doesn't matter how you do this, but this kind of depends on how the plane's going to turn out when you finish it. So, I'm going to do it this way. You can do it either way. It doesn't matter whether this is on top or on the bottom, but I'm going to do it where it's tucked into the inside for a change this time. Okay, so take your one side, take your one corner, and fold it all the way down. Repeat on the other side. It really doesn't matter which side you're doing this on, but you got the corners. So, alright, so you folded your halves, now you got a corner there. Got your tips going on. The way it needs it. Why is it? Okay. You're eventually going to have all these folds. You're going to look like this. Kind of. Trying to match it up. Would you stop that? There you go. Alright. So anyway, you got your triangle fold there. You got your pockets, right? Okay. Cool. Cool. Alright. This is why you take planes apart in the background to make sure that you don't screw up the next planes you build. Okay, so fold those again. You can either reverse that or fold it in on itself. In this one's case, I'm going to fold it in on itself. So I fold it again, like so. Gotcha. So you got, and of course, duplicate the process. Use your fingernails and make sure those angles are meeting up. Symmetry is the name of the game, people. All right. Okay. So Now comes the tricky part, but now comes what makes the plane what it looks like. I'm about to mess that shit up, didn't it? Okay. So, now if you followed along mine, you've got these folds here, but you got your initial fold on the inside here, right? Okay. So, fold it this way. Actually, unfold it and bring these out. All right? Okay. So, what you're going to do with these is fold them out. Like, basically, you're trying to take the back end here. You're going to make this fold run all the way out as close to the tip back here as you possibly can. And then, doesn't matter where it lies here so much near the nose, but you're going to make this part come as close to this tip to continue this, the leading edge, as you can. So what you're going to end up with is something then straighten it out like that. Okay, so I know there's some lighting issue going on, but see, there's almost nothing back there. There's like it's a scrawny tip, and it comes into. I mean, if you needed a guide, it's about 2 1/4 inch from the nose. This is 2 1/4 inch to where this fold is, but you see that it, like here also, the leading edge, the initial fold stop, and then there's a straight line start behind it. So I made that come right up to the edge. You want it to come right up to that edge, as close as you can. As it turns out, this is perfect. Okay, and then repeat that on the other side by making those two tips out here meet. Tricky part. All the rest of the folds don't matter, but you got to make the tips meet. Tips got to touch. Tips got to touch. Tips got to touch. Okay, so. Alright. So, it's less important that those folds meet up. Okay, so you got that. Now, the super short range. Like, you guys need the super short range. I hate it when a phone gets stupid. Smartphones are supposed to be smart for a reason. They better be smarter than me. Alright, so when you unfold it, it looks like that. Looks kind of dopey, don't it? It starts out dopey. Gets better. Alright, so, again, you end up with like this. So now, you'll notice the nose actually does have a little bit of weight to it. We're going to get rid of some of that, because if you don't, this thing's just a straight interceptor. It's all weight here and like nothing back here. And not enough wing to counteract that. So, what you want to do right away now, believe it or not, is you want to fold the wings. And typically, it doesn't matter. I give it a good slant, so there's like about a 1/2 inch here and like almost an inch in the back. But as long as you give it a slant, an upward slant towards the back, it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't take it to nothing, but I wouldn't start it out high up here either. Truthfully speaking, I've always envisioned this plane to actually have that slant. So if you build it with it straight, if you build it with it reversed, I don't think it'll turn out right. I should try it with reverse just to see how it comes out. Who knows? Maybe that'll make this damn plane work. But I'm going to do a little bit something different than I normally do by making the back not go so bloody high. Oh wait, you can't do that. Never mind. It's got to be high in the back. You won't get the fin unless it's high in the back. So take it up like whatever you do. You got to give it a pretty strong, hard slant. Damn it! I'm forgetting what I'm doing here. Is what I'm doing. Okay, so you form the wing, and it's not horrible, but it sucks. So, whatever you do, whatever you choose to do, at least give it a slant and try to give it some pretty, like, give it some pretty good space in the back, whatever it happens to be. An inch, 3/4 of an inch. I wouldn't go lower than that. You need some height back there. If you want to make it straight, you can, but then you're going to have no wing and then it won't fly. Keep that in mind. It will not fly if you don't give it any wing. So, okay, so you got that. You have the wings. Okay. And still, when you unfold it, you're like, well, that's dopey, right? It's not bad. It looks a little bit better. It's not dopey, right? Well, here comes the kicker. So, you unfold it back after you've put those wings in because you need that line up. And then, what you're going to do is you're going to build the world's biggest tail fin. Basically, I like to try to cut it off. If it's 2.5 inches there, like 2 inches back here. Okay, so wherever your wing line was, you can't see it. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can illustrate for you better here. Because I know it's blinding and stuff. Believe it or not, I got a better set of lights now. But I haven't installed them yet, so it won't be installed until Saturday. So anyway, there's a line, okay? So that's my fuselage line. It's up to here. You can see that with the fold. It comes all the way down to that. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold that massive tail fin they have. Okay. It's a big slant. It goes to that fold. It has to stop at that fold, of course. And then it just runs to somewhere up here. So, yeah, yeah. So, you're taking that keel and you're folding it up. Like so. So, you see it's got, like your nose, this is where your fold stops here, and then you got this. If you want technicality, that's about 1 3/4 inches. So, it's 2.5 inches here. And this is 1 3/4 inches, and then it starts to go up. But you see that it stops. This is where your wings are. It stops there. You can't obviously make it go any further. Alright. And then flip it over and make the same, reverse that fold and do it again on the other side. Because again, this forms its fin. And you're not going to, Jesus, how did I do that? You're not going to get it without, uh-oh, I might have a run. You're not going to get it without having to do duplicate fold. Okay? So then, like, uncrease that a little bit. So you folded it both ways. Alright? Because what you're going to do after you've done that. I believe you. I just, like, that means I got to put more flaps in these planes. Because, like I said, I've put flaps in them. I just couldn't solve the problem. But I'll do it again. Alright, anyway. Okay, so you got that. So it's kind of like a loosey thing. Now, you're going to punch it. So take it apart a little bit. And, okay, that's your fuselage, right? So you're going to push that damn thing in so it becomes upright and becomes your fin. This is the part Mark doesn't like. It's a little bit difficult, but bear with the plane. God bless. This one's worse than before because, like I said, I think I messed it up. My version's messed up a little bit. You're going to have to uncrease that top. Yeah, I messed it up a little bit. However you can do to get it to pop. Because you need to get it to pop. It becomes your fin. So, would you agree with me, please? Jesus. Never had one be this much of a pain in the ass before. There we goes. There we goes. Alright. Your creases should have helped it out. So now, you have it formed like this. And then when you pitch it back out and you unfold it. Yep, see, I did that. Shit, I'm going to have to give it a little cut. Because I screwed up and put the folds over the wing. And you'll do that. If you do that, you'll notice it right away because it will put severe stress on the back end, in which case you'll have to cut. In which case I have to cut. Okay. God! Screwed it up. Alright, so if you have to cut it, you have to cut it. But believe me, it won't hurt this plane anyway. So now you got this big back end with this fin. But now, you see it has its shape. So now it like blends all the way to nothing, and you got your tail fin sticking up there, which comes up from here. Pretty good slope. While you have it like this, you may want to consider clipping that nose. Jesus. That flew everywhere, but I cut the nose completely off. There's a lot of weight in this nose, and you still need to tape it. So you can't leave that. You leave that, you're going to end up with an interceptor for sure. Okay? But now, you have the bulk of it. So now, get it like this and give it some anhedrals, winglets if you prefer. I don't like calling them that. I consider them to be anhedrals, but let's not get into that. You better work with that too, and then see if NASA's likes that damn thing, because again, he can't get Spider to work as good as he wants it to, nor can he definitely get a cut nose Spider to work. And if Spider does fly better than it, that's fine. I'm not the one looking for a new bird. He is. Plus the fact that flying also, when you say that, flying better is in the eye of the beholder. What do you consider flying better? I mean, if it corkscrews, yeah, that does suck. But I mean, shorter range, longer range, ranges it all. If I'm looking for a close support plane, I need it to have shorter range, you know. So I got the anhedrals in. And now, the other part about that is, which is also crucial, take those diamonds off. You're going to have to cut again because it really doesn't seem to like the fact that it comes into a diamond. So even if you give it a little bit of a cut, just clip the tip. Because it doesn't like those. Okay, so now, you got that. Now comes the even more funner parts than the other parts that were more fun. You get a little bit of taping going on here. Kind of want to tape the nose apart, you know, together. In all the places that the nose wants to come apart. And there's a lot of them. Tape the nose down. Plane does not like its freedom, but it doesn't like anything really, so just do what you can to tape the nose together. Common sense. Okay. And then, now this depends on you, but you can tape what you want to get the wings to lie flush. Now keep in mind that because they're single papered here, if you get them to lie flush, you're adding weight, but oh my god, too much weight. You're adding weight, but you're curving them as you go because you're taping down a single piece. You definitely have to do it at the leading edge because you want that piece flush. You don't let that piece flush and you're going to have a bad time. That's like pizza, you know, French frying when you want pizza. So you tape that. Well, anyway, you tape that down. You grab the fin so it's a little bit better. You tape that down, and you see it's a little bit more flush there, but they start to come out there. So see that? It starts to come up. That you can take out, but it does have its standard shape now. My winglets. My anhedrals are folded back. So, but again, you can go crazy with that and start to tape down the areas that are giving you grief. The thing you got to watch out for is you got to make sure there's a universal. You got to make sure that you fold, you tape down equally on both sides before they cause you problems. So, I've got to make sure I don't. That's too much. I'm trying to cut the weight down, so I'm not using so much tape in there. But if you have any issues with this one, if you have any questions on this, contact me at my channel. I'm probably going to put up a little bit more elaborate scheme on another one of these up there because this is kind of on the fly. Oh my god, what happened to this thing? So when I look at it in the front, it actually looks like the wings are starting to parasol. Like you can see them back here. Like looks like they're coming down. I wasn't expecting that. That might be something new, cool, and improved. I think that has to do with me screwing up the wing fold where it makes the fin. Oh, and the other part of it. Oh my god, I almost forgot. Yeah, you're right. There is a part missing to this. The other part of it is the tail plane. It can be argued whether or not they need this or not. And you're welcome to fly it like this and see what you get. I'm not going to because I've built so many of these I know better. But you give it a little clip on the tip of the tail, the fin, upright fin that you built. Depends on how much you want to go. I'm gonna give it a small one. This is, yeah, these are kind of hybrids. They really are. So then you got that, and then while you have that, I'm so worried about screwing this up for you guys and for me. So then you got it there. Try to give that cut that you gave at the tip a little bit of a fold. Man, I need to cut more. You want this to be straight because this actually will play with your angle of incidence. And of course you don't want it to, like, if you work it too much, you try to get it in line with the fuselage, but if you give it too much, you'll start to have the angle of incidence will start to point the nose down. So you don't want it to do that. Because try to find a body line and stick with it. You know, like if you're going to follow it up, the fold needs to follow up or down, whatever that is. So, I'm beginning to sound a little stupid on that one. Sorry. Basically what it is you're trying to cut enough of it so you can make, if you're going to do that, you want the fold to follow along the line here. So that little bitty fold there is following that line. Because again, if you get it to do this, that means when the wind hits, it's going to kick the tail end down, and you know where that's going to be. So this one's quite small. But they like having it. It didn't used to be that way. My initial planes didn't have it. And then I started cutting into it. I was like, oh, they like that. That little bit helps. So there. Now it's got the tip. It's got the wings. Yeah. Fly it. You just built it. Fly it. See if it... you can continue to tape it if you want. You can also continue to trim the weight. If it flies too straight and just spins, cut more weight off the nose because you didn't cut enough. Because there's not a lot of wing back here, believe it or not, for the weight in this nose. So if it gets to the point where it's like interceptor and it just sputters and dies, it's weight in the nose. After that, it's just a matter of flap it. You can alternately add weight back here because you may want to tape this together. I'm going to do this. I'm going to freak y'all out too. See, I'm going to get this long piece of tape right here. But I'm going to cut it in half longitudinally. Okay. I know Mark loves when I do this. Because I'm going to tape down a section of this plane I normally don't tape down. I'm going to tape this long run right here. I said, this is up to you. But keep in mind, if you do this, you're going to want to do this before you destroy too much weight in the nose, because you're adding weight to the rear end. So they'll offset the weight that's in the nose of the aircraft. So I'm taping along the wing fold line here to make sure that it stays blended. Again, this is something, this may be the first time I've done this with this bird. Now the wings are a lot straighter than they would be. And then you're going to want to play with it to whatever. Like, keep it in mind. Always take a look at it towards you and see, like, hey, okay, is everything straight? Because, again, it's more important that everything is straight, or at least as straight as it can get. This plane irks me, but it looks really, really cool. So yeah, there you go. All right, Abby, go off to school. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, it'll be coming. It'll be coming. I'm working on it. So there you have it. You have built Valkyrie. Good luck. That's all I got to say. I hate this plane with a passion. I love the way it looks. Cannot stand the way it flies. And you can argue all you want to about how you think it might not fly or whatever, but until you actually get it to work, you can't say crap. I mean, go ahead and put on me and say like, oh yeah, I know why it doesn't. Yeah, okay, fix it. Because I've got 13 planes, and they've all had things put on them and taken off them in order to get this son of a bitch to work, and they haven't. Hasn't worked yet. There's got some, don't get me wrong, there's been some flights of this plane that have been downright cool. It's not been totally crap all the time, but it's been mostly crap most of the time. I want to fix that. I'm tired of mostly crap most of the time. This one actually, judging by the way it just flew, is pretty well balanced and is definitely straight. Oh my god, I come back to a design after I don't know how long, and it might actually work. Huh. Who would have thunk it? So, yeah. I'm going to give it a little bit of flap because that seemed to be what it lacked. So, more cuts. But I already did that because I had to cut the wings, so I'm not really missing anything. There we go. There we go. So you've built Valkyrie. Help me. My second week, and I'm pleading for help, but I'm sorry. But if you have any questions, comments, post it in the comments. Get with me on my channel, SIL. And I'll probably get into it a little bit more, especially if I get a chance to fly this thing and it works. If it works, you'll be hearing a lot about this. Again, another one of those planes. Flies great indoors, but seems to suck outside. 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I gave you, let me code it. And I gave you a Valkyrie. 2 weeks in a row, I've given you a plane too. And this is my one-a-day build. Didn't build anything today yet. You got involved in the ND show. Actually, I suppose that was ND. As you found out, as I found out, that was ND 21.2 and not 19.3. You guys have not built a 19.3 yet, because I don't know how. Well, I mean, I know how, but I didn't share it. This is, and now you got involved with my name planes that has been in the Corps for me since 2008, and yet has not flown in any capacity because I can't get this sucker to fly. Help me out, people. Get this sucker to fly. Find something. This is probably the first Valkyrie I've built in at least 5 years. Trying to get other planes to work and trying to fly other tech and just not flying. So, and doing shows. Alright, so, yeah, there you go. Please, let me know what you get out of ND 21.2. Let me know what you get out of this thing. I'm very interested to know. In the meantime, we're going to sign off because we've done our duty for King and Country. Pretty good show. Thanks for stopping in, people. Check out the maps. Check out some of our sheets. Join up if you want. But, in the meantime, we're going to leave as we always leave you. Always remember,